Now, if your bank holiday plans have been scuppered by the lockdown, how about spending tomorrow, all of tomorrow, listening to a live reading of The Hobbit? It's being read by the actor Andy Serkis, who of course played Gollum in the Lord of the Rings trilogy. He's going to be reading The Hobbit from cover to cover to raise money for the NHS. Well, I'm delighted to say we can speak to Andy now. Andy, good afternoon.
Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I'm very excited about your Hobbitathon tomorrow. I remember reading the book at school, and it took me ages to read it cover to cover in one sitting. How long is it going to take you?
Well, I think I've estimated that it's going to take between 10 and 12 hours. So it is exactly that. It's a Hobbitathon. And the idea was that it was really an ode to everyone who's been stuck inside, who's been trapped, who craves adventure, who craves getting out and escaping, and who physically can't, and the emotional ravages that that's having on them. I mean, I'm a very outdoors person, and I love climbing and going into the mountains and being in nature, and the very fact that you know, this disease has prevented people from stepping outside of their own front doors. I just wanted to take people on this extraordinary adventure, one of the greatest ever written, quite frankly, of self-discovery as well as experiencing an imaginary fantasy world.
Yeah, it really is escapism, it's adventure, it's about an epic journey. Nobody can go on epic journeys at the moment. But it's interesting that you're going to do it in one sitting, 10 to 12 hours. How many characters are in The Hobbit? Because, of course, you're famous for playing Gollum in that franchise very well. How are you coping with some of the other characters? Because presumably you've been doing a bit of practice ahead of this.
I've had to do a bit of training. It is much like a marathon, you know. I've been building up the amount of pages every day, make sure my larynx doesn't get chafed, and that I keep it lubricated. It is. I'm aware that and the difference with this is it's not like an audio recording or a book recording where you can go back and edit. This is live. So there's as you're pointing out, there are lots of different characters, and I can't remember exactly how many, but of course, there's all the dwarves, there's Bilbo Baggins, there's Gandalf, there's all of the orcs and all of the goblins and countless other minor characters. So it's going to be it's going to be an adventure for me too as I'm going through and hopefully bringing those things to life for everybody.
I hope you're ready, because I know you say 10 to 12 hours, but I'm just thinking about story time in households up and down the country for kids at night when parents and relatives get into the character. And a chapter you think will always take about 10 minutes, always takes longer when you get into it. So how are you going to keep yourself going? Like you said, it's like training for a marathon, but once you're in that Hobbitathon, what's your strategy?
Well, obviously there are lots of things to consider. The amount you've got to drink to keep your throat lubricated. There's obviously I'm going to get hungry at some point. But the good thing is, of course, hobbits have a propensity for eating lots. So I think the idea is that everyone gathers round. It's a bit like a storytelling session where you can bring food. I'm encouraging people to bring snacks, sit there, and then maybe we can all chomp for a bit in between chapters, and then move on depending on the tension and where we've got to with the story. There will, of course, be moments where a comfort break is necessary, I'm imagining, and so we'll have to figure out that one as it happens. But the idea, as I say, is
I don't remember that in The Hobbit.
No, exactly. If my cats wander in and sit on top of the laptop, then cause all sorts of mayhem, that may well be part of it too. It's a live event.
It's the perils of broadcasting from home, Andy. I tell you, I'm sitting far too close to my front door. I'm dreading the doorbell going off at one point or another. But talk to me about why you're doing this, because you want to raise money for good causes. And what I love is that you're inspired by Captain Tom Moore. Watching him,
Absolutely.
I mean, there'll be books and films made about him in years to come. I mean, what a story the latter stages of his life have turned out to be.
Absolutely, he's a legendary figure. He will probably be the archetype that people will remember from this time. The heroic character, and such a not to compare him to Bilbo Baggins, but being an ordinary person. This story is all about every one of us overcoming our own challenges, our own individual what we're learning from these experiences. So it's really. I was inspired by Captain Tom, now Colonel Tom, and I just thought if he can walk, or 100 laps around his garden at the age of 100, I can get through 300 or whatever it is, 367 pages of The Hobbit. This is a mere kind of ode to Captain Tom, but nevertheless, it is that thing of what the human spirit is capable of doing that was inspirational.
And you're raising money for NHS charities together, and one of your favourite charities you've been involved with for a number of years, Best Beginnings. Can you tell us a little bit about that charity? We're running out of time, but also how people can watch you tomorrow and donate.
Yes, so Best Beginnings is a child health charity which covers sort of for parents and children from prenatal through to early years, people who have lack of access to information in that very lonely and tender moment around childbirth, pre and post. Especially underprivileged and disenfranchised families or individuals who are going through pregnancy and the young years of their child, especially in times like these. And obviously charities are deeply affected by loss of income for their individual charities. The NHS, of course, this is very much about supporting them, to continue to support them whilst we're inside and safe in our indoors. They are fighting every second of the day to make sure that we come out of this. So this will go out on a link which will be released tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. It will go, if you want to donate, you can go to www.gofundme.com, the Hobbitathon COVID-19 appeal. And I'm aware that people have given hugely to charities, and people may not. But even if they just want to enjoy the story and the escape, that's fine. Fine by me. That's part of it too. But if they can, then great.
Oh, yeah, a little bit counts as much as a lot. Andy, thank you so much. Andy Serkis.